Let's start with what surprised so many people lately. The Arakan Army, or AA, has gone from a regional militia to a force controlling big swathes of Rakhine State in Myanmar. It's wild. Just a few years ago, hardly anyone outside Myanmar was talking about them.
Honestly, the scale of their rise is staggering. The AA began as this small armed group formed by Rakhine nationalists back in 2009, driven by decades, really centuries, of grievances against the central Bamar government. Now they're running a proto-state near the Myanmar-Bangladesh border, governing over 1 million people.
The transformation is intense. They're not just fighting, but actually setting up parallel administration, schools, even basic services. But it's a region with almost no resources and really rough infrastructure. I mean, imagine trying to run a government in the middle of a war zone.
That's what makes their political wing, the United League of Arakan, so interesting and so challenged. They're carving out authority under constant military pressure, and yet the humanitarian cost has been sky high. Hundreds of thousands have been displaced, and both sides face serious accusations of abuses.
What's really tricky is how the AA fits into Myanmar's patchwork of armed groups. Their alliances are just as important as their firepower.
It's a crowded field. The AA is a key member of the Three Brotherhood Alliance alongside the Taang National Liberation Army and the MNDAA from Kokang. They've worked together on massive operations like that 2023 campaign, Operation 1027, which basically shocked the junta.
But it's not just teamwork, there's plenty of tension too. The AA's had outright clashes with Rohingya armed groups, like ARSA and RSO, especially since those groups have been accused of collaborating with the junta. That's really complicated things in the refugee camps, especially across the border in Bangladesh.
And don't forget, the AA's also built bridges with pro-democracy forces like the People's Defense Force and even Chin resistance groups. So, the AA's not just fighting for Rakhine, they're shifting the balance all across Myanmar's civil war.
Shifting to the border, things have gotten tense for Bangladesh. Since the AA took over almost the entire 271-kilometer border, Bangladesh has beefed up security, worried about both refugees and insurgents slipping across.
Absolutely, there's a balancing act going on. Bangladesh can't ignore the growing influx of Rohingya refugees fleeing the fighting, but at the same time, they're super wary of letting the conflict spill over. We've seen patrols ramp up and even cross-border skirmishes causing civilian casualties on the Bangladeshi side.
It's turned into a humanitarian and security crisis all at once. Bangladesh has to manage tense dialogues with both the AA and the Myanmar junta. Meanwhile, they're also running counter-terrorism operations against suspected AA members.
It's almost a diplomatic tightrope. Officially, Dhaka keeps lines open with both sides, but every new flare-up like those Rohingya armed groups getting junta backing just adds more fuel to the fire. It's no wonder Bangladesh is so cautious.
That actually reminds me, India's got its own worries. The Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project, which is supposed to connect India's northeast to the Bay of Bengal, now runs straight through AA-controlled territory.
Exactly, and India can't just pretend the AA doesn't exist anymore. They've had to open direct talks with the AA and its political wing to keep the corridor safe. It's a big shift from dealing only with the Myanmar state.
And there's a lot riding on this. The Kaladan corridor isn't just about trade, it's about countering Chinese influence, giving India's northeast a lifeline, and staying connected in a very volatile region. But AA's grip on Paletwa and other key junctions has really slowed progress.
India's even started looking at alternate routes, like using Bangladesh's Chittagong port, just in case. It's a high-wire act balancing old ties with the junta, the new reality with the AA, and the ever-present shadow of China's interests in the region.
Speaking of China, they've mastered the art of playing both sides in Myanmar. Their interests go way beyond just neighborly concern.
What stands out is how China maintains relations with both the junta and the ethnic armed groups like the AA. For Beijing, it's all about safeguarding those massive investments like the deep-sea port at Kyaukpyu, the pipelines, and the whole China-Myanmar economic corridor.
And China's not afraid to hedge its bets. They arm the junta, but also quietly support the AA, often through the United State Army. If one side loses, they still keep a seat at the table.
The risk, though, is rising anti-Chinese sentiment, especially among pro-democracy groups and locals fed up with foreign interference. Attacks on Chinese projects have escalated, and the ongoing civil war makes even China's best-laid plans vulnerable.
So, in a way, the AA's rise hasn't just shaken Myanmar. It's forced every neighbor to rethink strategy, from border patrols to billion-dollar infrastructure bets. Before we wrap up, I keep circling back to the humanitarian cost. With so many displaced and abuses on all sides, the road ahead looks rough.
It's a huge challenge. For real progress, the AA will have to face its own complicated relationship with the Rohingya, support investigations into abuses, and engage with neighbors like Bangladesh and India, not just about security, but about people.
If they can't manage those relationships, any hope of a stable, autonomous Rakhine State could slip away. The regional ripple effects from refugees to insurgencies won't stop until there's some kind of lasting settlement.
And with global powers now watching closely, every move the AA makes will shape not just Myanmar, but the whole Bay of Bengal region. The stakes have never been higher for everyone involved.